Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. And this is a pop-up live stream, and so it's just kind of done on the fly, so to speak. But I'm getting ready for a huge road trip and also kind of getting the channel figured out, getting the channel laid out on what's going to happen in the future, what we're going to be covering, and how exactly we're going to deal with it. I'm actually quite surprised by I won't say quite surprised, but I'm surprised by some of the pushback from the last video. I'm surprised at a lot of things actually about the last video. And I'm surprised in so much as that people, I mean, I really want to thank the positive feedback that we had. Um, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, we're going to remove you. Yeah, see ya. So this is exactly what I was going to. Yeah, you're mentally ill. That's what that deal is. So let's see if we can get rid of this a-hole. I'm hoping that we can. There we go. Hey, good to see you, Michael. So thank you, Michael, for taking care of the trash. I really kind of don't understand some of the people on YouTube. There's this. Yes, thank you. Salamat po. So yeah, my last video, I was very much surprised at the positive and the negative. The fact of that there seems to be thank you. There seems to be this misconception that YouTubers at a certain level are making all of this cash. We are not. We are doing it. I mean, Steve has done his 1,200 videos, and I have done taking over the channel, not because there's a ton of money to be made, but because we like doing it. And because, I mean, Steve, I can't even believe how helpful he is to people and letting people call him, meeting them at the airport. I have not yet got to Steve's level, his Jedi Knight level of helping people. However, I'm working on it. But we really want to tell you stories of what we see. Uh, Thank you, Greg. I appreciate your comment. And like the story about the guy being blacklisted, I had people actually say to me, that's not true. And the guy had told me the story several times, and I actually peeked at his passport to see what they stamped it with. And, I felt bad for the guy, but I also felt too that, and it goes to situational awareness. You're coming through immigration, you got to be, you have to be kind. I mean, not kind, but just polite. No, I really do appreciate your comment, Greg. And I also, Michael, you too. Yes, anytime. And with that being said, I've seen people with my own eyes coming through immigration, and Steve is no longer. Yeah, no, I know, and actually, that's why I took over the channel. Michael is, Steve's been doing it for a long time. He's been helping people. He's been going the extra distance, and I try not to be too judgy on people's private lives or anything like that. Everybody's got their own foibles, and I have mine. Steve has his. You have yours. Overall, though, Steve has really helped a lot of people, and he helped me. And I, in turn, want to tell you what I'm seeing in Thailand and my experiences I've had in the Philippines. I'm actually getting back to the last video. I was also surprised too at, I guess, at the troll and it wasn't just one guy with no teeth who seems to hate everybody, who definitely needs mental help with his issues. But there were other people too on that video. One guy said that, and I'll never forget this, and I'm going to do a video about it. He said that he's worked hard for 40 years and he's not going to come to a country where he has to bootlick. And I'm like, dude, being a normal human being is not bootlicking. Showing immigration respect as you come through, and they're going to let you in. And, uh, how is that? How is being a normal, nice person bootlicking? And so I literally told this cat, stay where you're at. And I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it here. Toxic expats, we don't need any more of them. We have more than our share, as Michael just cleaned house on one of them. So, if you're going to be that way, if you're going to come through and, snap at immigration, don't come here. I wouldn't advise it. So, yes, Steve deserves every bit of his peace and quiet. And I would invite everybody to go over to Boston Guy, whatever. I mean, like I said before, Steve has helped so many people. And Steve and I guess that's why I wanted to say this live stream, we're different people. Steve has way more patience with the trolls than I do. I just don't have any patience with people like Sick Uncle that, I actually did a little research. That guy hates everybody, and I don't know who hurt him when he was a kid. I don't know. And I really don't care. Dude, that's if you want to hate and be grumpy all the time, have at it, man. Just get out of my way. And I don't know the exact quote Mike Tyson said, but Mike Tyson had a great quote about, keyboard warriors, and also about getting hit. These times have created these keyboard warriors who will sit behind a keyboard and say anything. And yes, Michael, you're right. We are all guests. And I try to express that. I try to act like that everywhere I go. I try to, give everybody, including our friends, the benefit of the doubt. And getting back to Thailand versus the Philippines, you guys are, expats are, we're in the minority. We're really in the minority here in Thailand. I can't express that enough. There's way more others here in Thailand than there are in the Philippines. Most of my friends, I think I've said this, are Finland, they're German, Canadian, and some Russian, and a lot of people from the UK. I got friends from Scotland. I got friends from Ireland here in Thailand. Whereas in the Philippines, we were all basically just pretty much vanilla expats. And we have, Michael and a couple of a different Michael who are included in that group. However, it's much more it's much more joined together here. And so, you really have to be on your best behavior. And with that being said, I am planning, actually, Steve's going to be back next week. He's going to actually kick off my week with a video. And then I'm actually leaving on a huge road trip. And I'm actually getting ready to drop a video about car rental and about this road trip that I'm on, and about what you should do, the 5 checklists, things that you should do before you rent a car here. And, because things, you guys know that nothing is, I don't want to say nothing is easy here, but everything is a little more complicated here in Thailand by the language. In the Philippines, I think by the overall, it's a different vibe in the Philippines. And I try to tell people that, like the grumpy cat that, didn't want to come here and, bootlick is what he said. It's, if you come here to Asia or the Philippines and you think that it's like America, yeah, you have another thing coming, because it's not. If you want to come over here and pound your chest about, this and that, you're going to find yourself, not really happy, and you're going to find yourself in a lot of situations that you regret. I don't know, you guys listening, I would love to hear your feedback. I'm sure that you came here with a whole different vibe to the Philippines. I knew that the Philippines was going to be different than America, even though I still had my moments of, frustration. And you guys think that no stock po is just the Philippines? No. It's the same way here, except it's just not such a big deal. In Thailand, I mean, they don't come at it like the same way that I remember people coming at it in the Philippines. Sorry po, no stock. I mean, how many times have we all heard that in the Philippines? 100? 1,000? And you just get used to it. And here, it took me, hey, shout out. Hey, Joseph. Glad you're here. Thank you. It took me a while to get used to the style here. And I'm going on 7 months here in Thailand. And I did 2 years in the Philippines. it took me a while to get used to the no stock here in Thailand, because it's not quite as the no stock here in Thailand is not quite as big. It's not quite as evident. Whereas in Philippines, they would look at you and go, "Oh, sorry, Po, no stock." You know, and how many, like I said, how many times have we all heard that? Here, it's more subtle, but it still happens here. Just so you guys know, and it happens on some of the weirdest stuff ever here. Whether it's food that they sell a lot of, all of a sudden you'll go there and they won't have it. And so when certain foods come into play here in Thailand, the same way in the Philippines, I suggest that you buy a lot of them. So, and a perfect example, and I know this is crazy, but cheese pizza is huge here. And you'll go to the store for cheese pizza, and there will be no cheese pizza. Sorry, Po, no stock. It's just little weird things like that. However, the other things though are, for me, make up for it, like the salad and the vegetables and the oranges. They all seem to be a lot more priced differently. So the road trip, I'm actually getting ready to go pick up the motorcycle in Phetchabun, and I really like Phetchabun because there's no mall in Phetchabun. I just like saying Phetchabun. There's no mall in Phetchabun, and so when I was there in Phetchabun, there, people came up to me. They're like, "Where are you from?" It reminded me of the Philippines when I first got to the Philippines, when it wasn't super crowded. It's so crowded here, you guys, where I'm at, and I get it. I get it because it's really nice here. I'm in Huhin, and it's like such a touristy place. And right now it's high season here, you guys, and so high season means just tons of people, tons of traffic, tons of just a lot of people right now in high season. So that means that there are fewer rentals. My two friends that do car rentals and motorcycle rentals, my friend that does motorcycles, she's sold out. And my friend that does cars, he's sold out until February, which to me is crazy. I get it though. You don't want to buy too many, and then for 6-8 months you sit on your motorcycles or your cars. So right now, getting a car was really tough. Getting a motorcycle, like my friend, she's waiting for me to buy the new. She's waiting for me to buy my new bike so she can get her rental back, because I'm sure she has it rented already. So I'm really hoping that next month that it calms down. And the Muay Thai class, you guys, is just insane because there's people from all over the world, all these different fight clubs that are coming here and just packing the town. So with that said, the good side of that is that, and I'm going to call him out here and laughingly, but Steve, there's tons of Western food, or let's just call it European food. There's tons of restaurants that are, have American food, have Irish food, have Finnish, Danish, and even some pretty good Mexican food here in Hua Hin, Thailand, which surprised me. Now, if you want Mexican food or American food, prepared to pay for it. That's all I can say about that. Because, and look, ooh, fireworks. And look, you guys, if you want American food, it's going to be more money. It's funny that you mentioned that, Michael, about the Russians. I just read an article just the other day that there has been a decrease of Russians in Phuket. And when I went to Phuket, that's all I saw was Russians in Phuket. And I can't say actually what I call Phuket because this is a family channel. So yes, there are Russians, and there's actually an influx of Russians into my town right now, but nothing like Phuket. When I was in Phuket, that's all I saw, I thought, was Russians. And, it's okay, except they kind of reminded me, they were loud. At least in Phuket, they were on the beat. You could always tell, when there was a Russian. Here, they aren't quite as loud. And I'm not saying that we're not loud, because we are. And the deal is though that Russians are very boisterous and they're very they're very outgoing, and so you always know when you're near a Russian usually. Now the Russians that I've met here in my building, I've met a couple of females, very kind. I made a friend with a girl from Siberia. She was a teacher and super sweet, super nice, very friendly. So yeah, I've had some dealings with some Russians. I've had more dealings though with Finland and Sweden and and actually Chile. So I met all these, and actually Canada. I met a ton of people from Canada here, and so these are my friends. And there's some Iranians, and there's some, again, it is not like Philippines. Because when I was in the Philippines, especially in Cavite in our neighborhood, it was just expats. I mean, besides, we have a friend Michael who I think he's from, I think he's Danish. But the point being is that when I was in Cavite, and when Steve and I were helping expats, it was just expats. It was just Americans. Um, just don't put the. Yes, I've noticed that. It's really funny how when people don't like other people, these people don't like that people. These people, don't like that people. The Scots don't like the Irish or the UK, and yeah, everybody's got their group they seem not to like. Yeah, no, no. Um, and we just had an incident here with a German, and it's a German guy just got into a fight with a guy from Belgium, and it was crazy violent. And the guy from here's the deal, you guys, and I've talked about this before. Alcohol, it's the root of many evils. So people go out to bars and they hang out with bar employees, otherwise known as bar girls, and they get drunk. So, the bar girls are like, oh, buy me a drink. This is why research has shown I don't drink. So, you guys know that when you get some alcohol in people, no matter what country, it seems that alcohol is the key to schmuckness. I don't know. I mean, you guys, we're from America. Drinking is the number one pastime there. So so people get to drinking, whether they're Russian, whether they're German, whether they're American, and it causes problems. Now, with that being said, I've had one friend, two friends that were pulled over at checkpoints, and thank goodness I've never been pulled over at a checkpoint here. I've been pulled over in two checkpoints in the Philippines, and neither of the checkpoints were a big deal in the Philippines. But my friend got pulled over here, and he informed me that he thought he was drunk. And my friend, like some of these people like to drink, and so he actually did. I don't know. I think it was a breath test, and he came in under whatever percentage. And again, don't drink and drive. It's so easy here with taxis and Grab, and the taxis here, I want to say that they're better than Philippines, but I don't think that they are. I mean, what I do is I get a Grab price, and then I go to a taxi, and I say, hey, here is the Grab price. Whether it's 100 bahts or 150 bahts, which is 3, 6, 9, 12, $4 or $5, whatever. And I go to the taxi. I'm like, here's the Grab price. Can you do it? And if they say yes, I say cool. If they say no, I keep looking, or I basically do a Grab, which is okay with me. You know, I have that on my phone, the Grab app, and Grab here is pretty reliable for both food and for traveling. So, with that said, don't drink and drive. It just doesn't make sense. And what happens is people drink and drive here. Let's just say expats, and we're on the wrong side of the road here. So I actually had that happen to me in Phuket. And again, I'm not a drinker, but I went to a restaurant, met the owners, we hung out. They were playing card games. I had maybe half a beer, and anybody who knows me, I'm a lightweight. So I had half a beer, got on my motorcycle, and literally, this is in Phuket. and literally realized I was on the wrong side of the road. And I swore that I would never, not even a half a beer, would I drink or be around drink or smoke driving. Not that I would, but I'm just saying that it's so easy, you guys, to make a mistake driving here. So don't do it. Don't drink and drive. So my road trip is going to be at least 8.5 hours long. And I'm going to be driving. And this is the furthest I've driven in Asia, is this road trip I'm doing. And like I said, it's a newer MG right hand side drive. And I'm dropping a video on how to rent a car here because you guys, the deal is that the devil is in not what you say, it's what you don't say. Um, and what I mean by that is that you have to, and I go into this in the video, you have to ask the right questions when you're doing business here in Thailand. When you're renting a car, is it when you're renting anything here, whether it's apartment or whether it's Airbnb or no matter what, ask what your all-in price is. I'm just wondering, do you do a tourist extension in the Philippines? If it's rare that no, I'll have to come back, Andrew Apple. I will have to. I have a long-term SRRV that I got from Mary Rose and Thelma, um, and I love those guys, by the way. They did my visa in the Philippines, and so I would recommend them night and day. So my visa, Andrew, goes until October, and they are no longer doing it, remotely. So I will have to come back. Uh, yeah, I'll have to come back to the Philippines. I've said this in 100 videos. I'm joking slightly. I've said this in many videos. I love Philippines. The Filipinos are great people. Their heart is just so kind. So yeah, I will always have a connection to the Philippines, and I always want a connection to the Philippines. It's just right now I'm in Thailand, and I'm loving it here in Thailand. I think I just had dinner at a street restaurant, at an actual sitting street restaurant, and I paid three, four. I think I paid $4.50 for Penang curry, chicken, rice, and a drink. So my entire meal, good clean meal, was $4.35-40 and I love that. And my chicken that I get here, my clean chicken, that comes in at like I think that comes in at like a dollar 70, and that's a clean chicken steak, small order fries, and a small salad, and a small water. And you pay. There's no service water here, which I find sad, but it is what it is. So I just bite the bullet and buy bottled water and hope that they are recycling them. Yeah. So yeah. No. I still have an SRRV in the Philippines, and I cherish it because I worked for it. Steve and I talk about that all the time, and I have the service one. Uh, oh no, I heard. Yes, I heard the Hertz stories of them reporting cars stolen and Hertz renters being arrested. It's crazy. One guy got arrested and was in jail for like days because Hertz reported his rental car that he had an agreement for stolen. And actually, I don't know if it was a class action lawsuit, but Hertz actually had to admit that, yeah, they were screwing up. So, yeah, that's why, again, I'm getting ready to drop the video on rental here in Thailand. You got to ask questions. You got to get everything on a string, because I use my text, you guys, as proof. I've been doing that in business for years and years. So if when I was in TV and working with clients, you know, anymore, you didn't really even have to have it signed. I mean, some stations were, and some TV companies were, but ours was a huge. We had 178 stations, and all you had to have at my station was a text from the client, excuse me, going into detail. So, uh, yes, Andrew, I believe that's correct. I believe that, yes. I mean, it's in the Philippines. That's a plus for the Philippines, is that they're pretty easygoing about their tourist visas. They're pretty easygoing for the most part about their overstays. In Thailand, not so much. Thailand, they want their P's and Q's to be pretty tight. So in Thailand, I always make sure that I have an agent. I always make sure that I have somebody checking my paperwork because I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to put myself in jeopardy here because I really do love it here in Thailand. So yeah, tourist visas are in Andrew in the Philippines. I don't want to say they're like candy, but I don't think that we know anybody besides my friend who was who I won't say that, who was not very well intentioned with the immigration officer. I really don't know anybody that. I mean, Steve and I've heard stories about guys with years overstay that still want to cause trouble, and so don't be that guy. That's kind of that was kind of my subject for tonight was don't be that guy. I'm so amazed at the interactions on YouTube that you know I don't really understand it. You guys. I mean, I said it before at the top of the show, and I'll say it again that guys that are at 300,000 and 600,000 subs, they're making some serious bank. They're making some serious cash. Other people not so much. So to think that we're at the doorstep or we're doormats for some people in the way that they interact. No, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about was, Steve, like I said, is way more patient than me. And I just don't have the patience for people like that. And I appreciate Michael. I appreciate you getting rid of that one clown because I actually did some research on him and I don't understand, why he's so hateful or, maybe it's the gap between his teeth or I don't know, his gingivitis. I don't know. I don't care. So, I mean, all I know is that, we're having a good time. Philippines immigration is no longer auto approved. Yes. However, if you answer their questions, it's still easy to be approved. Yeah, I had heard that, Michael. But again, I mean, I'm comparing now everything against Thailand. And so I have a long term visa, you guys, but I have to go check in every 3 months. And it's not really a big deal, especially if you know the magic time and the magic place. You basically walk in, it's literally, and they're at malls. So we have two malls here in Hua Hin, and they're both really nice malls. And one of them has immigration. And if you go at the secret time, and I'm not going to tell you what that is, if you go at the secret time, there's literally nobody there, and it's 5-10 minutes, and you're done with your immigration update. Um, I'll be trying to guide. Uh, yeah, no, I appreciate that, Michael. And Steve is a pro at these visas in the Philippines. However, when I was in the Philippines, I don't remember anybody running into a huge issue with staying longer or anything like that. I don't remember that at all. So, like I said, I'm comparing everything to Thailand, and I will be comparing everything to Vietnam once I get that figured out. And again, I appreciate everybody who's on here because this is more or less pop up. And I think that Steve is doing his live stream at the Boston Guy. And I would, tell everybody go over there to Boston Guy, subscribe, support Steve. He supported many of us for a long time with his information. And I'm at the decision point of, do I want to be more like an information channel or do I want to be more, more entertainment? And I'm really struck between both of those. Just tell you have not finished touring. Yeah, right. I understand, Michael, and I totally agree. And I talk to friends in the Philippines, if not daily, really close to daily. And I tell people that, the Philippines is a great place to start. It's a great place to be. And I still have many so I think I told you on one of the videos about a guy who came to the Philippines, a decent expat, good guy, came to the Philippines, then he came over to Thailand, and then he went back to the Philippines, and now he's getting ready to go to Mexico. And again, if that's what he wants to do, it's his time, his traveling time, more power to him. Uh, Definitely more. Uh, yes, yes. After doing my visa here in Thailand, yes, I missed Mary Rose, and I missed going to the office and getting it done like that. And I think that the thing with the Philippines, and you and Michael, you guys can tell me, is that Philippines really loves us Americans, and I think Thailand loves everybody. I'll just put it that way. I mean, Thailand doesn't to me doesn't seem to be playing favorites, and that's fine. I don't really need favorites. As long as we're all level and it's all okay, I'm okay with that. And many people are doing many different things here in Thailand. Since I am years from retirement, as soon as I can find a full time remote job, um, yeah, finding full time work at a decent pay. Ooh, as my Muay Thai instructor. Ooh, I don't know, man. In the Philippines, I was doing some photography and I was helping out with some production on some other companies. And I checked it first before I did it. I called up the SRRV people. I called up immigration. I said, "Here's what I want to do. Am I going to run into trouble?" And they said, "No, you're not going to run into trouble if you do that." So I did it. Here, it's not quite as clear cut and it's not quite as easygoing. And so I don't want to do anything to in jeopardy my time here. Uh, Philippines love, you know, Andrew, they love Aussies here too in the Thailand. I can't tell you how many Aussies I've met. I can't tell you how many New Zealanders, Kiwis I've met. I've met a ton. And, like I said, it's at first it was refreshing and now it's just it's not weird. It's just different that I know and have so many friends from so many different countries here. I grew up in Silicon Valley, and so I grew up working with people from all different countries because we still had manufacturing back in my day. So we still made things back in when I was in Silicon Valley. And so we had people from Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea, China, Japan. I worked for the Japanese government when I was in Silicon Valley. I also worked for the Spanish government when I was in Silicon Valley, and all great people, um, just different. But Australians are very much loved here in Thailand. So it's not just in the Philippines. Even though I think the Filipinos love us Americans, and I love them. Salamat po. So, and actually, one of my instructors or one of my friends at the dojo, she is from the Philippines, and she actually runs. She's the manager of the Muay Thai camp, and so her and I talk Philippines. She's got back, and she was from Quezon, maybe Upper Manila. So, until then, yes, yeah. I mean, you should try to come here. Expats come to the Philippines because it's easy visa. And yeah, no, no, no. I totally agree about the visa. I feel so lucky and blessed that I served my country in two different services. And man, it was such a breeze coming to the Philippines, and also the amount of money I had to spend because I had done the army. So I was in the army first with nuclear missiles, and then I was in the Navy Reserves on air traffic control on the USS Carl Vinson, stationed out of Alameda Air Base in California. So, but with that being said, I got the military visa in Philippines. They don't offer anything like that in Thailand, and I checked. So yeah, you're absolutely right that that the visa situation and the English situation. I can't tell you guys. I've done 2 videos on it. How many of my friends, expat friends, that won't come here because they're afraid of the language, and I understand it completely because man, the misunderstandings are rife, and if you try talking to people, sometimes they don't even want to talk to you, which is fine. If you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to you. It's the same way here on. I feel like I'm from New York. It's the same way here on YouTube's. Yeah, what's the matter, you? Or not so much Boston, but New Jersey. So again, if you, I don't understand people that are unhappy and continue to be unhappy. Again, like some of the trolls, and I don't want to feed them, but I just, if you just, ignore them or block them like Michael did, thank you, that, they'll go find somewhere else. And I've done some research on some of these trolls, and they seem to just hate everybody. And I would imagine that they hate themselves. That's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed, that usually self-loathing has a problem with. And some of the people, some of the comments on the last video were just, for me, mind-blowing to why people would even waste their time. Uh, yeah, oh my gosh, I think that Thailand, now the cheaper thing, that's kind of changing a little bit. I think I did a video the other day, and 27 million people as of October visited. Now, with that being said, somebody pointed out 27 million people visiting. Are they visiting for a week? Are they visiting for 2, a month? Where people go to Philippines, I stayed 2 years. So, yeah, I think that, and the food, oh my gosh, I've done videos on that. The food here in Thailand, I I can't say enough good things about it. It's helped me lose. Again, I'm down 10 kilos. I'm over 50 pounds, but that's with Philippines and Thailand together. But I plan to lose another 25 pounds this year, and I'm telling you guys that, so I'm going to hold myself to it because I have a trip in August, and I want to be 25 pounds lighter. And not so much a black belt because there is no black belts in Muay Thai, but I definitely want to be to the next level of Muay Thai and maybe do some training at John Gaston's place in either Illinois or Florida. So uh, over 2 million expats in Thailand. Yeah, but I don't. The thing about, I saw that number, the 2 million number, and yeah, I don't know where they're at. I mean, like I said, because they're, I haven't tried. I think I told you, I've seen you and I post about that. I was not able to find in Cavite a martial arts place. I found a couple of trainers, but the martial arts places that I found in Cavite were in a mall. They were in a hallway in a mall with a mat on the floor, and mostly kids. I mean, I actually got a trainer in from Titan Gym, and he was a good guy, a good kid, but he was less than half my age. And I'm working out. My new head trainer is closer to my age. And hey, salamat po, ¿cómo está po? New Steve, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Um, so I don't know how it compares. I know how it compares to Muay Thai, how it compares with Taekwondo, because I have training in Taekwondo. I know how it compares to Krav Maga. I have training in Krav, and I also know how it compares to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And believe me, when it comes to the Jiu Jitsu, I am not a practitioner. I have worked with Hoist Gracie and the Gracie family, and if you are in martial arts, you know the Gracie family. But I worked with them from a photography end. and from a content end. And Hoist was an incredible guy, and I worked with him many times, but I'm not a huge fan of jujitsu. I should be, but I'm not. So how it compares to Muay Thai compares to, let's say, Taekwondo. Taekwondo teaches you, at least mine did, teaches you to come in and work with the threat. And Muay Thai is more of, it's literally more of a dance. It's so different. And I've talked to my instructor in America because I hold a black belt from him, and I told him these are the things that I need help with here. And it's much more traditional here, the Muay Thai. However, I love it. I mean, you guys, I do 2 hours in the group classes, and when you get done with them, you guys, that you have done something. So, but again, it goes back to what do you want to do? What you want to do, when you get here, whether it's the Philippines or whether it's Thailand. If you just want to hang out, uh, um, yeah, I found Taekwondo when I was doing it. Um, I don't remember it being heavy kick, but here the Muay Thai is heavy, heavy kick, and I'm having to like relearn, and that's one of the biggest things that I just commented on. I just finished my ninth personal, and I what is that? It was my 30th or 40th Muay Thai class since I've been here, and my kick has gotten so much better. My God. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely improving. And if you want to do other things, you guys, I need to do something on golfing. I don't golf. I don't like the pants. I don't. I mean, unless it's like full contact or naked or you know, drunken, maybe drunken golfing. I mean, I'll drive a cart, but I know a lot of my friends. Don't get me wrong, golfing is cool. I know a lot of my friends love golfing. A lot of my friends live their life to golf. Not me, but we have lots of good golfing here. And I know that I don't know if Rich is here or if he's on Steve's channel right now, but Rich golfs all the time, and a lot of people in the Philippines golf all the time. Here we have, I want to say, three really, really nice golf courses. Some of the bigger things here is pickleball. Is that how you pronounce that? Pickleball, and tennis. We have a world class tennis court here, and we have, I don't want to say world class pickleball, but we have like pickleball competitions that are national here. And I live right behind where the women's national tennis is held at the True Arena. So you got tennis, you got pickleball, you have Muay Thai, I'm going to try windsurfing. Um, yeah, yeah, no, no, I've heard the caddies are super nice in the Philippines, and they're nice here, and it's cheaper. I'm told. I need to do something. I need to learn more about it. But we have golf, we have pickleball, we have tennis, we have Muay Thai, we have beach. We have a lot of beach activity. We have a lot of scuba activities, and we have guys that we actually just had somebody who just passed away doing. I think it's paragliding, is what he was doing. This was just, if I understand it correctly, I'm looking for a source on it, but he died on Christmas Eve. Paragliding is what I'm told, and I can't. I mean, and actually I saw him. I saw him that day. If the story is correct, I took pictures of him. I have pictures of him of lighting. So there's also this thing called, was it windsurfing? Yeah, or kite surfing. Yeah, and I kind of want to try it. It looks scary as all get up, but it looks fun. I can't imagine being picked up by a wind and hauled out in the middle of the ocean. But there's so much to do here in Thailand, and maybe I just wasn't doing it enough in the Philippines. I don't know, but I know here that I don't have a free moment between the station, between Muay Thai, between my friends. between doing photography. And Steve really wants me to do something on my photography, and whether it's give classes or show off my work, um, because that's what I did in America for a job, and that's I did some of that in the Philippines too. I did some work for some restaurants, and yeah, so there is so much to see and so much to do here, and there's also wildlife. But I'm not. I did the elephant thing. I've done the elephant thing twice, and I won't ride an elephant. Mm-mm, no, I won't ride an elephant, and I really don't want to go to the places where they're put on short chains. And I get it. The elephant keepers tell me that they're kept that way so they won't hurt themselves or hurt other people. And I'm like, yeah, we should do that with people too. So, but there's also four wheeling. There's also dirt biking. There's also we have a go kart here. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, there's tons of cooking. There's tons of classes here, and you guys get this. Okay, get this. There are a ton of expat females here. I mean, it's mind blowing. I mean, I can't get over how many there are of women from around the world that travel alone here. Let's see. So, yes, the infrastructure here in Thailand, to me, there's no comparison, and it makes me sad because again, I love the Philippines. In the Philippines, though, and I'll be interested to know your guys' thoughts. The Philippines has this chaotic thing going on. Chaotic vibe. You go to SM Mall and you got to go through a guard, and people are waiting in queue to get into the parking lot, to get into the mall. You don't have that here. There's not this chaos. I mean, now traffic is kind of bad here, but because it's high season. Now, are people driving the same way? Takes hours in the Philippines. Yes, yes, it takes hours to travel in the Philippines. Not here. Um, let's see. What do you think of the compact micro? I have, as a matter of fact, let's see. That's my camera bag over there, and so I have two DSLRs that I shoot with, and I have a new mirrorless. So when I'm on a job, I have the Sony mirrorless on this side, a new A7 III or triple I, and then I have a 5D or a 7D DSLR on the other side. And then I also almost always on a job I have a newer GoPro too. So the plan is to get over there by May, June for me. I think that paddleboarding is big here too. Um, the Tai Chi. Yeah, Tai Chi. I'm interested in Tai Chi too. But I'm here to tell you guys. Hey, greetings from New England. Good to see you. I have. When do you know they offer that in the Philippines? I haven't. I didn't. Sorry, I'm sounding disjointed. But big, I didn't find any. You might want to talk to Michael on here. But I had a hard time finding martial arts in the Philippines, and so at one point I just stopped looking because it was fruitless. I think I said that I ended up going to a private teacher, and I didn't like it. I mean, he's a great kid, great guy, but I want to be working out with a bunch of people. I was always music. Yes, security guards. Yeah, security guards in the Philippines. It's the number one job. I used to joke. They have two number one jobs in the Philippines. One export and one. So the export is the nursing, and the other job is security. And look, I don't have a problem with it, and especially the older that I've gotten. However, it just gets to be a much in the Philippines. You don't have that here in Thailand. Um, and the paddleboarding, I'm interested in that too, Big Slick. I would really like to try that too, and that's why I want to try the kite surfing because we're right on a really popular place for kite surfing here in Hua Hin. And so again, like Cavite, I'm about 3 hours, 3.5 hours from a major city. I'm 3.5 hours from Bangkok, and I like Bangkok. And I was 3.5 hours to Manila, and I liked Manila. I really liked BGC, and I really liked Makati. I love Makati, and yeah. And if I come back there, I'll probably stay in Makati and then do my up my tourist visa, and then jet around and see Steve and everybody else. So, but with that being said, there's so much. It seems to me, and maybe it's because we have so many foreigners, and then that's the big term here. They call us Furlangs. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, and I don't really care. But it means foreigner, and it doesn't. It's not a bad connotation. It's just a reference to who we are as foreigners. Same here, asking me to take my cap off coming into food stores. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it borders on ridiculous. I thought in the Philippines. I get it. I went along with it, and I never gave those guys a hard time because it's like immigration. You guys, they're just doing their job. And I became friends with several security people and one or two companies, and man, the people in the Philippines, their work ethic, as far as the number of days and the hours that they work, is crazy. So, and it's not. There's much more of a life balance here. I found. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Farang. Yeah, that's the term. And the first visitors from Europe. Yeah, and so I don't look at it as so much a negative term. It's just what they call us. And expat isn't really a term used that much here in Thailand because we are, like I've said before, we are in the minority here in Thailand, and I'm okay with that. The building I'm in, we have, and I call it like the UN, whether it's Muay Thai or whether it's here, it's like the UN. We have all these people, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, I'm not meaning to be a smartass. I'm just saying that there's people from every walks of life that you can think of. They're here in Thailand, and I did not see that so much in the Philippines. So, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like. Oh, yeah, Big Slick. You like Makati also? Yeah, yeah. I think that I really like. I mean, I don't think I spent months in Makati actually, and I know that Steve, old Steve's what I call him, and Cranky, Justin, I call him. Don't tell him I said that. Um, but they thought I was going to move to Manila because I like Manila a lot. I like the food is much more international food. There was true Mexican food. There was some Thai food, but not a lot in Manila. However, everything was more expensive in Manila. I thought, and I knew that I couldn't or didn't want to live in a Makati price. And actually, I ended up doing Airbnb work in Makati. So yes, the green belt in Makati, you guys, for those who haven't been there, it's gorgeous. I mean, they have museums and talk about shopping malls on the green belt. Oh my god, shopping mall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and theaters. I mean, it's more of an international vibe. And for me, being somebody into production and advertising, I think I counted, I don't know, 25 ad agencies in in both Manila and Makati. So, and if I stayed in the Philippines, I actually was looking and talking to several of those advertising agencies about getting a work visa working in the Philippines for an advertising agency. My last job was with a huge TV company, and they were doing digital broadcasting. So they were doing a lot of the stuff that you see on your phone. And then, because that's the way with the future. I know it. We all know it. So, but that's going on, you guys, in Makati, in Manila. So it's so funny. You go to Manila and then you go to Cavite, night, eat midday. So I don't know. I thought that Philippines was really going through growing pains, and I mean that in a good way. And so you know, it wants to be the little country that could, and I want it to be that too. Again, the people. minus the karaoke and the barking dogs and the roosters. Um, you know, Philippines really is building. At least that's what I saw. And when we were in Cavite, uh, new Steve and old Steve will both attest to this. There's tons of building going on. There's tons of apartments being built for expats. So I'm hearing there may be real estate bubble popping in Manila due to the supply demand. A lot of people, yes, I heard that too. And we have, I don't want to say a glut of condos for sale. Hey, Lynn, Happy New Year. Um, a glut for sale. Um, I don't know. The prices here are, and you could buy, from my understanding, we being Furlongs or expats can buy land here. It's not like Philippines where we can only buy condos or be married. And I think that, to me, that is crazy. I think that somebody who to get married, you know, ugh, uh, sorry, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. The condo market is glutted, yet they're still not lowering. I know, right? Michael's brought up a good point that whether it's here in Thailand or in the Philippines, there's a glut of condos and the prices aren't coming down. I don't understand that either. We're starting to see in America, at least my family and friends are, that whether it's houses or cars, that that bubble is kind of starting to burst, especially with cars. I sold my car at exactly the right time. I got almost, I got close to what I paid for my car new, and my car was like 6 or 7 years old, but it was low miles. So every car, every vehicle I get, I try to buy it with the resale value in mind. The bike that I'm going to go pick up this week is in such huge demand that there is a 2 month waiting list to get the bike that I want, and that's the ADV Honda. I had an ADV in the Philippines, and I'll have an ADV in Thailand. And luckily, I have a friend who has a friend, so I'm actually traveling to pick up the bike. But the bike is in super demand. So when I go to sell it, it sells like that. Ted K, they are overbuilding in the Philippines and looking at a correction in the near future that could be big. Yeah, I think that's a very fair and true statement. It's just a matter of how much will the correction be, and do you want to get in? Do you want to wait for the correction? And I'm always I always chuckle at what people call things, and some of our friends call the Philippines God's waiting room. He says we're all in God's waiting room, and I say yes. Some are closer to the front than others, and so how long do you want to wait? And that was my big deal here with Thailand. You know, I came when it was very tumultuous here in Thailand. What I mean by that is that things were changing here in Thailand, and there was rumors of things to be changed. I sound like a Monty Python show. There were rumors of things to be changed. Whether it's whether it's the visas or whether it's what else? What else? I think I talked about it in the last whether, and I think Michael even touched upon it in one of my videos. Whether it's the cannabis laws, there's things that are changing right before our very eyes, and some people are really wary and afraid of that. And I just got to thinking, you guys, what am I waiting for? So if I come now, my visa will be this. If it changes, my visa will be that. You know, if I have to, go back to the Philippines, the visa with this, visa with that. So the thing with my visa, you guys, it just occurred in my head is that I did the SRRV. Um, I always worry that I'm not saying that right. I did that visa, and so I put money in an account. And so, you guys, I'm here to tell you that I'm thinking as long as that money's in that account and I'm staying current, we're all good in the Philippines. I could be wrong on that. And then I thought, okay, well, do I want to pull that money out of the Philippines and put it here in Thailand? And I don't think so. At least not right now. But I can't tell you guys how many people told me, oh, don't go to Thailand. It's scary. They don't speak English. The visa's bad. They don't like us. I haven't found that to be the case at all, you guys. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How much money will it take to be happy? And I'll make this story quick. I have a friend who, because I used to still am involved in a lot of productions, and I had a buddy who he bought homes on the spec 30, 40 years ago. So he bought homes all over Northern California on the spec, and he would buy them, fix them up, because that's what he did on the sets. He was a set designer, and so he would design these houses after he bought them, and then either rent them or sell them. So he bought a home on spec in downtown San Francisco. I want to say maybe 30 years ago, and it's a beautiful home. It was owned by a Mexican general, and it was Noe Valley. And so he called me, sends me a text one day, and I'm not doing this to impress you. I'm doing this to press upon you. So he buys his house, he divvies the house up by permits, and he goes to sell it because he's our age, and he goes, and he's actually huge. He actually, you guys, was here in Thailand when the tsunami came, and Thailand, and so he has this house. One of his houses was in San Francisco, and he calls me. He sends me a text in the middle of the night. And he said, somebody's made me an offer on the house. Excuse me. And I said, cool. Are you going to take it? And they said, how much is it? It's none of my business. And it was $18 million. And I'm like, dude, WTF? What is wrong with you? Take it and run. And his comeback to me is like, well, taxes. I'm like, don't be an idiot. And my friend ended up having open heart surgery, and his health declined, and he did end up selling it. But my question to him, my question to Big Slick and to Michael, how much money do we need to be happy? I don't know. I mean, 1,500,000. What does it take to be happy? So I gave him a lot of crap about, dude, take the money and run and be happy. And I think that goes back to the trolls. Some people, whether you love them or hate them, whatever, some people are never really going to be happy. So he ended up selling it, and he ended up buying a ranch up by Francis Ford Coppola. Who cares? So the point is that, dude, I keep trying to tell him, spend your money. Don't wait till they bury you with it, because that's where it'll be. So anyway, with that being said, I really like Thailand. We could be rich in Thailand. We could be rich in the Philippines and not have to have $1 million. And some people who do have it, good. Bless you. Spend it. So that's my thinking on that. And I didn't mean to, a lot of people gave me crap last time for rambling. Yep, I do. I tend to ramble on, as the Led Zeppelin song goes. So with that being in mind, I'm going to probably check out of here pretty soon. Thanks to everybody who came here. This was really a pop-up live stream. I'm going to be doing more of these live streams probably on Saturday. And I really appreciate, Michael, you being the moderator and taking out the trash. I absolutely appreciate that. So with all that being said, you guys, Big Slick, Lynn, Ted, new Steve, old Steve, all of you, thank you very much. Welcome to the new year, and I will see you. Steve's, yes, please hit the thumbs up. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Steve's video, at least one of Steve's, will be dropping next week. Mine on car rental will drop next week too, and also on travel. You guys have a great day and a great weekend. Thanks a lot.